Welcome to the Bridging Broken to Breakthrough podcast. I am your host, Maria Wingard. Today is a red tent conversation and the final of our interview with Miss Julia. Disclaimer, today we are wrapping up the abortion conversation, and I know that's a bit of a sensitive subject, so I wanted to give you a heads up going into it. And we are going to be talking about how to sit with people in the consequences of their actions, how to be Jesus.
Oh, Julia, you would have been, what do they call that, the legal term for it?
When you help
to murder. That's a hard word, but that's what I felt like it was, even in my youth. And I was, God stepped in, and I didn't have to live the rest of my life with that guilt. How do you get beyond it? Other than
just believing
grace of God.
Yeah, other than you said the grace of God. So many are in delusion.
Yeah.
You know, because of what they want, they will intentionally choose to believe a lie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's a place where God saved me.
Yeah, he saved you because he knew your heart was to make sure that if she were to be in need, you could take care of her afterwards. You weren't condoning the act.
No.
But you were like, I do want to make sure that I'm picking up the pieces.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. What a hard decision. And I don't even know if there's a right or wrong answer to that, because you were saying, I don't agree with this. I am not choosing to participate in that, but I will be here to make sure you don't suffer for the consequences of your actions. Don't die.
Yeah.
That's such a hard, wow. And God did. He saved you from even having to make that decision.
That's it.
But what a good thing to bring up for conversation, right? Because we don't know if any of us would be put in that position. And it's so easy to sit here and say, as someone who's never asked me to do that, it would be easy to say, I know what I would do. But I don't really have a clue. And I think that's the beauty of having a conversation with someone in the red tent who has had an experience that I've not, and who's had to make a decision that maybe I might judge, right? You know, we would want to judge that, but it says judge not unless you be judged. And I think this is what it's talking about. And I don't want to be given an opportunity to make that decision. But now if I'm in that position, I think I would probably hesitate a little bit and say, I do not condone this, but I will be at your house for days afterwards to make sure you don't die. I will sit with you in the consequences of your choice, right? I will sit with you in the consequences of your choice. And I think I've seen that over and over with you, where you definitely will tell people you don't agree with their decisions, but then you will sit with them in their consequences and love them like Jesus. And I've seen that over and over again. The boy that went to prison, you know, just a recent conversation of reminding you of where I've seen that. And then in this, like, I do not condone you, but I will sit with you in the consequences. And boy, isn't that Jesus? Where he's like, I don't condone, but I'm here with you. Like the thief on the cross, like, I'm here with you. I'm hanging on this cross for you. And I love you enough to be with you in this. Come out of it. Come up out of it. You don't have to stay here. And what a beautiful, 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 beautiful picture of Jesus. Not condoning, never condoning.
But loving.
In the sand with the woman caught in adultery, thrown in the sand. Wow, it's like making me tear up a little bit.
The woman at the well.
So many situations we have where he's just there, not condoning, you know, where he literally says your sins are forgiven, you know, go and sin no more. He's flat out saying, I'm not condoning what you did. But now that you know that it's something you shouldn't do, go and sin no more. Don't do this again. Here's my grace. Here's my mercy. Here's what forgiveness looks like. You know, I think that's also a reason why that parable of the unforgiving servant, where he gets forgiven by the master, but then he's like beating people and throwing them in prison, and he doesn't extend what had been extended to him. That's why the master was so mad. And if we want to tick God off royally, well, there's a way to do it.
That's it.
Be forgiven, but not sit with people in their consequences, but sit there and say, I told you so. I hope I can learn that lesson well, to not point a finger and say, I told you so.
Another pearl.
Right. And just sit there with them and say,
yeah,
baby, this ain't right. You know this ain't right. Don't do this again. But I'm going to help you with this. I'm going to lighten your load a little bit. I'm going to, help you with your nether regions as you heal from this really horrific decision that took a life. Saul to Paul. We all love to read our scriptures, but that man murdered people.
Yes, he did.
And not just murdered people, he hunted them down.
Delighted in it.
Delighted in taking them to a cross, whipping them in the synagogues. Hello, that's whipping people in the church. And how many times do we hear people gossip whip people? Gossip whip people in the church, and we don't stop it. We let them get beat to death in our presence, and we do nothing about it.
Yep.
Gossip is the language of hell, people. The language of hell.
That's it.
And we just watch people get whipped left and right. I don't know how I'm trialing through this, but it all goes together in my head. Is this the popcorn popping, Miss Julia? It's the popcorn popping. But I feel like it does apply. We are so easily Saul.
Yes.
And until we have a divine encounter with a living God, we have no ability to be Paul.
Yes.
And when we forget that divine encounter and that grace and that mercy, we end up being unforgiving, judgmental little brats.
Yes.
That want to hold people's feet to the fire for the sins that they've committed and not sit with them in their consequences.
Yes.
Love them through that Jesus sat with her in her consequences. He didn't move away. He didn't flinch. Bible never says that. It just says he sat there calmly drawing in the sand, writing in the sand. Never moved when she was thrown at his feet. Never moved away to be, uncontaminated by her sin. He just sat there with her in it. And then said, woman, don't do it again. You're loved. He just loved her in it. Anyway, wow, we have meandered. I don't even know how to finish this, Miss Julia. How do we finish a red tent meeting? I'm not even sure.
See you next month, girls.
Leave it to you to bring it back around. I am grateful you decided to come walk a mile with me, your host, Maria Wingard, on the Bridging Broken to Breakthrough podcast for our Red Tent Conversations. To find out how Jesus bridges broken to breakthrough and to listen to past episodes, please visit hopewillarise.com. And thanks for listening today.